So I just did an entire channeling session, uh, but the camera kept popping out. I have no idea why. So it became useless and I lost everything, which is too bad because I thought it was pretty good. But I will try again because it seems to be working now. Anyway, um, the first part of it is just me answering a few questions. Um, Eve has been talking to me, even though not through channeling, but she's been talking to me personally. And she's answered some of these questions in that way, and I will just relay the answers to you. I'm sorry that it's been so long since my last channeling, but I've been going through a few things. Anyway, I'm ready now. So, the first question that I had was did I believe in the vaccines? And my answer to that is yes. And I have been vaccinated. I had the Moderna, both shots. And there are a lot of reasons for that. And those of you who are familiar with Seth will know, that we create in mass, and there are lots of different levels. Well, I think we all know that. So, for example, with the vaccine, you not only have the physical level of the vaccinations themselves, but you have the en masse creation. You have the societal actions and reactions. You have the political actions and reactions. You have societal, economic, all kinds of things. So the answer to that is yes, I do believe in them. Now, the next question was for Bill, who wanted to know about the silver entity that he saw in the woods back in the 70s. And Eve told me that you created that entity. You projected him, it, whatever, we'll call him for simplicity's sake. And that he will go on to have his own life, his own experiences, and that he's very grateful to you for creating him and giving him life. She said that many of us are doing this all the time, creating these projections from ourselves, and they're not to be feared or anything like that. And she said the difference here is that most people can't perceive them. They project them, they create them, but they can't perceive them. And so the projections just go on their way. And but in your case, Bill, you could, which is very special. You could perceive this entity, and he could perceive you, had an interest in you. But the pull for him to continue his existence was much stronger. So this may happen again, who knows? Now, the next question was, I think, from you, Tracy, and it had to do with hearing uh, uh, some words in French and not understanding what that was. And Eve told me that this was like a bleed through, a cross connection, that this message was actually meant for a counterpart of yours who lives in France. And for some small amount of time, the both of your energies meshed together. So she could hear the message, but you could also hear the message. And she said that this is also somewhat common among those who are aware of their vibrational selves, have an understanding of counterparts, etc., and alternate selves. That a lot of times people will hear things or see things or whatever and just dismiss it. But when you know better, you understand that these are messages that may be meant for you or they may be meant for someone else. You also are projecting to the other self, so they may be getting messages from you, or bleed throughs, I guess we would call them. So that's just when you hear something or experience something like that, it may take a bit of discernment to determine if that's a message for you, or if it's something you're sharing or bleeding through with a counterpart or another self. But if you understand it, whether that's verbally or emotionally, then excellent, just accept the message. If not, just say, oh, well, that was interesting, and perhaps you'll mesh with that counterpart another time. Okay. Now, the next question, and I hope we can do as well as the one that was never videoed, had to do with Krishna. And the question was whether Krishna was channeling himself, also a mention of Arjuna, I think. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And whether the Gita had come down in its pure form. So I'm going to let Eve take that one yet again, and we'll see what we get, okay? Yes, so we will try this once more. Now, we would like you to know that Krishna was never a physical person, such as Muhammad was. In fact, in many, if not the great majority, of the prophets and gods that have come down through the centuries, through the ages, in varying cultures throughout the earth, such as the American Indian culture and the many gods that you find in India, Japan, China, whatever. Africa has many. These are mostly not any idea that came from a particular real person. Now, we would also like to say, as we have mentioned before, that when you have an energy belief system as large as you find with creations like Krishna or Jesus or Buddha, these are often very difficult for the channel to get through. This is especially true when they are an entity that actually existed in the physical. But Krishna did not. So we will say to you that many of these creations, including the energy of Krishna, have developed throughout time, and they've changed throughout time according to the desires and needs of the people. Often the leaders of any given culture or tribe or state or country, where the leaders wish to impart certain lessons to the people. Sometimes it is the spiritual leaders and not the political leaders that bring this information forth into the society. And sometimes it is simply an en masse creation of the people themselves who feel that perhaps there is a lack of a certain morality or concept going on in the society at the time. So, again, we wish to tell you that while Krishna was not a real person, the lessons may still be very good and very appropriate for you. So we are not saying, oh, because Krishna did not exist, you should ignore everything that was taught. No, we are not saying that at all. For if the lessons vibrate with you, then accept them, it will help you in your development toward your value fulfillment. Now, this brings us to the Gita. No, the Gita did not come down purely because it was never written purely. It did not ever exist in a physical form, but again, was a thought form and came down as a thought form. And we say the same to you about that as we did about the lessons of Krishna. Take what vibrates with you and dismiss the rest and don't worry about that. there is so much in so many cultures, societies, religions, politics, whatever, that will not relate to you at all, that you will not vibrate to. Any individual person will find this to be true. And there is a saying in we believe it comes from AA, perhaps. Take what you like and leave the rest. And so we would leave you with that message. And we hope this has answered your questions. And feel free to ask more if you so desire. And we hope that there will not be such a long period of time between meeting you again. So good evening to you all. Okay, I'm going to post this now.